Hello and welcome to the IRONMAN Florida course info, tips and tricks, and Q&A. Gotta say, guys, I am super excited for this evening. Year to date, I've probably done close to 20 of these course info webinars, and I have not been as excited for any of them as I am for tonight. Why is that, you may ask? Ironman Florida is my race. I love this race. I get goosebumps literally right now just talking about it. It was my first Ironman to attend. It was my first Ironman to race. And I have been back almost every year over the past decade. And every year, it's just a special event. So I was there for the old course. I was there for the Haines City year, and then the new course as well. And they're all fantastic, all unique. So, really excited for this evening. So, what I want to do is share my experience both as an athlete and a coach with a lot of experience there in Panama City Beach to help increase your confidence and reduce your stress as race day approaches so that you can have an amazing experiences like I've had over the past decade plus and produce your best possible results. So, my name is John Mayfield. As mentioned, I am a four-time Ironman Florida finisher. It was my first and actually my most recent as well. I set a new Ironman PR more than 12 years after racing my first Ironman last year. So great span there from 2011 to 2022 and a couple times in between there. I am a full-time triathlon coach. This is what I do. This is what I'm passionate about. And I am certified by USA Triathlon at level 2, as well as Ironman U. And I've had the privilege of coaching hundreds of athletes from first timers to professionals and everyone in between. So again, I want to pass along some of the things that I've learned working with athletes, racing this race, racing other Ironman events, again, so that you can enjoy this amazing opportunity and still go out there and have lightning fast splits. So, a couple tips before we get started. Stay hydrated. This is something I'm going to keep coming back to. I'm going to harp on this all evening long. Hydration is absolutely critical. And that starts with showing up to the start line, being there on that amazing, beautiful beach in a well hydrated state. So that means you need to be drinking in the days leading into the race. Now, every time I mention hydration, which let's make it a drinking game. Every time I say hydration, take a shot of that electrolyte drink. That's part of it. It's not just plain water, it's hydration with electrolytes. If you drink a ton of water in the days leading into the race, you're going to flush out those electrolytes that are going to be absolutely critical on race day. So make sure that your hydration protocol leading into the race includes fluids as well as electrolytes. So my go-to in the days leading into a long course race is vitamin water. I'm going to come back to that in just a little minutes and explain why I even tell you that. But just always have an electrolyte drink of some sort there within reach in those last couple days as race day approaches, race morning. That way, you ensure that when you jump into that beautiful water, that you are starting the race in a well hydrated state and setting yourself up to manage your hydration throughout the day. Along with that, limit time on your feet. Now, I love Panama City Beach, especially this time of year. It is gorgeous. It is overrun by triathletes. There is such a cool vibe there in Panama City Beach. The beach itself is amazing. It's beautiful. I would argue one of the prettiest beaches in the country. But you are definitely going to be putting a lot of demand on your legs come race day. That's what you've been training for. That's what you're in Florida for. So limit time on your feet. Now, you've got to go down to the expo and check in. You've got to go down the day before the race, drop your bike and your gear bag. So there's a certain amount of things that you have to do. And obviously, those last minute sessions are absolutely critical as well. So I'm not saying just spend all your time on the couch or perhaps lounging on your condo patio overlooking the beach. Do lots of that, but manage time on your feet as well, and then pair that with recovery. So whatever modalities you've been using leading into the race, whatever you've been doing to stay healthy and injury free, keep doing that all the way through race day. So your foam rolling, massage, Theragun, compression boots, whatever the case may be, make sure to bring those with you. Continue using those through race day. Now, you may wonder why I have Merry Christmas listed as a bullet point here. This is just kind of one of the unique things about Ironman Florida. I love Ironman Florida and I love Christmas. And what is so cool is oftentimes they intersect. So, yes, even though it is still very early um, November when this race occurs, not even, I mean, it's several weeks before Thanksgiving. They're already putting up the Christmas decorations there at Pier Park and already playing the Christmas music, which for me, I love it. It's kind of like some of my favorite things all wrapped up into one. So, a very important note that you absolutely have to know: this is a Saturday race, which means for Ironman you have to check in by Thursday. Now, you may know that, no brainer, or whatever, but inevitably in every one of these webinars I get the question of, can't I check in the day before the race? And the answer is no. You can do that for the 70.3s. You can do that for most triathlons. When it comes to Ironman, you have to check in 2 days prior. So for the Saturday race, that means you have to check in by Thursday. So make sure that your travel accommodations have you there in time to get down by the close of the expo on Thursday. From there, check out the course. This is not a technical course, not a lot of surprises out there, but we still want to be familiar with the course. You want to know what you're in for. You want to be able to have a plan and strategize, where race day simply comes down to execution. Going to be talking about that a lot as well. So, great opportunities to go and actually swim most of the venue, or the entire venue if you wanted. A lot of the Ironman courses do not allow swimming on the venue leading into the race, but they it's super easy to just go out on the beach and hop in. My recommendation is to go down to the pier. Stay relatively close to the pier, not too close, because there are people throwing fishing lines and that sort of thing off of it. But it's just a great meeting place. There's going to be lots of triathletes there all week, so there's some safety in numbers. And then it's just a good guide. The buoys won't be out until at least Friday or late Friday. So that pier just gives you a great visual. That pier, we'll talk more about it. But my recommendation would be to just go out and swim a couple laps around the pier, come out, get used to that break in between exiting the water, running along the beach, running under the pier, and then heading back out. So basically, you can duplicate race day there. So do that. Go drive the bike course. There's a great opportunity to ride from the race central, where the transition, the expo, all of that. The very beginning of the bike course, you can head out, and on that main north-south highway, that if you're driving in or coming in from the airport, there's a very good chance you're actually going to drive that stretch. There is a really nice, very wide path that is bike friendly, where you don't actually have to go and get onto that busy highway. Just stick to that path. I want to say it's maybe about 10 miles from transition to the Bay Bridge, which is, again, the main elevation gain. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's a bridge over the Intercoastal. Again, if you're coming in from the airport, or if you're coming in off I-10, which most folks will be, you will cross over that bridge, and from there, the bike course heads out to the east. So great opportunity to go ride that stretch of the course, and then I would say drive the rest of it. We're going to talk a little bit more in detail about this bike course. Again, it's not a technical course, not a whole lot to it, but it is still a really good idea to go see it and know what you're in store for. And then the run is even more simple. Definitely recommend getting in one of those last minute runs down there on it, but drive it too, get a feel for it. We'll talk about some of those different things that you're going to see out there on the run course, but don't let race day be the first time that you're going to see it. Again, be prepared, know what you're in store for, have a plan, execute on race day. Read the athlete guide. Largely goes without saying, but this is not so much for the first timers that you've probably already read the athlete guide a dozen times. This is for the veterans. Oftentimes, those athlete guides will have one or two little nuggets that are different from every other Ironman you've ever done. So make sure to read the athlete guide. Another thing that is really cool and unique to Ironman Florida. This is a long-standing tradition. I don't know how long this has been going. At least 10 years. But there is a local church that offers a free pancake breakfast on Friday morning. There's information in that on the athlete guide. I believe it's even on the schedule. Super cool local event. The Panama City Beach area does a great job of welcoming athletes. And this free pancake breakfast is just one of those events. Go check it out. It's part of Racing Ironman Florida. Couple things now. Talk about a little different here. Optimize your tire pressure. So this is a mistake, or not even necessarily a mistake, but something that has changed over the past years. When I raced my first Ironman Florida back in 2011, I raced on tubular tires. They were 23 millimeters wide, and I don't even remember. I want to say I put 160 psi or something like that because the thought of the day was more is better. That was one thing about the tubular tires is you could put a whole bunch of air in them. That's going to reduce the amount of ground contact the tire is going to have with the road. It's going to be less rolling resistance. It's going to be faster. Well, as things have progressed over the past decade plus, what we've seen are the wheels getting wider, the tires getting wider, and along with that, the amount of optimized tire pressure has come down. So I've gone from running well over 100 to 100. Now I am running around 80 psi on a race day. I weigh about 170, 75 pounds on a race day, so probably as heavy or heavier than a lot of you. And I have found my optimized tire pressure at 80 psi. A great resource to find out exactly what is best for you is the Silka uh, tire pressure calculator. Silka is a manufacturer of bike accessories. It's spelled SILCA. It's on their website. It'll ask your wheel width, your tire width, your weight, a couple other questions, and it's going to give you your optimized tire pressure. So don't make the mistake of putting in too much tire pressure, thinking that you're doing a good thing. Find out what your optimized tire pressure is. Now to get controversial. This may raise some eyebrows. This may even upset some of you. You may be a staunch disagreeer of this, but I stand by it, and I have a whole lot of backing from a lot of people really in the know. Numerous bike mechanics and race directors and all that. Don't deflate your tires the night before the race. So Friday, you're going to have to go down and drop off your bike. And what you're going to hear are a whole lot of people letting air out of their tires. The long-standing myth is that due to the temperature change overnight, so it'll be warm Friday afternoon, it'll cool in the evening, continue to cool overnight, and then it'll heat back up on race day. That change in temperature will cause the air inside that tire to contract and then expand, and it's going to cause a flat either overnight or out there on the race course. This simply is not rooted in truth. There's very little air in these 700cc tires. The amount of temperature change required to actually cause that much contraction expansion would be very large. We'd have much bigger problems on our hands if we had that big of a swing in temperature change. So inevitably, yes. It is quite likely you will hear some tires pop out there, but that's because there's 3,000 bikes in that transition area. More often than not, what has happened is athletes have overinflated their tires. Maybe that morning they thought they needed new tubes or new tires, so they swapped them out and they have a pinch flat or something like that. Inevitably, it's not because they didn't deflate their tires and the air pressure changed overnight. So don't let the air out, because if your tire is going to blow overnight, it's going to be because there's a defect or a pinch in the tube, something like that. You want that tire to pop overnight as opposed to during the race. So just leave your tires just like you do after every other ride. Think about it. When else do you deflate your tires after riding? I know for me, I live on the Texas Gulf Coast. It is incredibly hot in the summer. And I go from keeping my bike indoors, so 70 degrees to triple digit temperatures, and then I a lot of times even put my bike in my truck afterwards and go have lunch, and no telling how hot it gets in there, and then bring it back in the AC. Never had a flat when I go to pull my bike. So don't deflate your tires overnight. And the other thing is don't cover your saddle. This is just another thing that you're going to have to do. There's really no purpose in doing this. Your saddle is made to be wet. Unless you're doing a full change, you're going to be soaking wet, or at least pretty wet when you make it to your bike and jump on. That saddle is going to get wet. So there's really nothing gained by covering your saddle or even your bars, for that matter. Your electronic shifting is waterproof. The one thing, if you're dead set on covering something, cover your drivetrain, because that would be the one component to your bike that is most susceptible to moisture and that sort of thing. But even then, if you've got a fresh coat of lube on it, as you should, there's nothing to worry about there as well. So just minimize the amount of things you need to bring, minimize the things to do, minimize the things to go wrong. All right, I'm going to step off my soapbox and head out onto the race. So, like everything else around Ironman Florida, I love this swim. It can be a beauty, it can be a beast. I've experienced both, and I wish I could tell you what this year is going to bring. Ask me on race morning, and I will give you an idea, because it could even change between the early hours of the first people into the water versus the last folks out. It's been described as a beauty and a beast, and for good reason. So, swims start. Water temperature will be announced prior. Typically, they will be taking readings in the days leading into the race. Those will be posted at the check-in tables, and usually they make their way onto social media, so you'll know exactly what the trend is leading into the race. So the last several years, the water temperature has been, I would say, not cold but cool. It has been below the wetsuit cutoff. Last year's official temperature 69.7, year prior to that 68.4, 2020 71.9. So the last 3 years, at least, it has been well below that wetsuit cutoff of 76.1. If the water temperature is above 76.1, so 76.2 or above, it becomes wetsuit optional. You can still wear a wetsuit, but you will start in a separate wave after all of the non-wetsuit people go. You will not be eligible for world championship slots or age group awards. You're still an official finisher, all of that, but just those things. So as of right now, from what I've seen, we are a little warmer, but oftentimes what we see is later in the month of October is that temperature will fall quite quickly. So right now, from what I've seen, the water temperature is in that 76-degree neighborhood. So if nothing changes, then it'll kind of be a race morning decision. The official temperature is taken in the wee hours of race day. They'll be announcing it in transition. They'll be very clear. You will know exactly whether it is wetsuit legal, wetsuit optional, and what that water temperature is. The pro men start at 6:40, pro women at 6:45. So super exciting. It's been a few years since we've had both a male and female pro field racing Ironman Florida. Super excited for that. Lots of really great athletes coming off of very impressive world championship races. And then the age group starts at 6:50. It is a self-seated rolling start, which means that you will line up there on the beach according to your expected swim time. There will be a corral set up with these barricades. There will be volunteers holding signs with every 5 minutes. So the first sign is, I believe, 50 minutes and below. Not a whole lot of people out in front of that sign. And then it'll go every 5 minutes from there. So 50 to 55, 55, 60, so on and so forth. Hour to hour 5, all the way back to 2 hours plus. So what that's going to do is allow you to line up with athletes that are going to be swimming a similar speed to you. So you'll head down there to the beach and get into that corral according to your expected swim time. Pretty obvious. It is a beach entrance and beach exit. The term beach entrance and exit is used a lot for lakes and rivers, but obviously this is the beach. So no jumping off of piers or anything like that. So you'll wade in and you'll wade out with the two loop course. You'll do that twice. Couple tips for the swim start. Create a wetsuit plan. So that means do this now, or at least not right now, but in the next couple of days. Think about what your strategy is for this race. One of the things, again, execution is critical in producing your best race results. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about here in a bit is maintaining your core temperature. As your core temperature begins to elevate, your ability to perform decreases. So your body is not going to allow itself to do harm by overheating. So this is going to start on the swim. It's really going to manifest out there on the run course hours later. But think about that. So if the water temperature is above 76.1, I would probably advise don't wear the wetsuit. If you feel like you need that for the extra buoyancy, for the safety, for the comfort, that's a different thing. But even then, like, what if the water temperature is, say, 75.5, still pretty warm? Maybe if you are one that is prone to overheating, maybe if the forecast is calling for that warmer day, maybe you elect to not wear the wetsuit, or maybe it's a consideration between a sleeveless wetsuit or a sleeved wetsuit. So have that thought already made up. I'm going to wear a wetsuit starting at the temperature of X. I'm going to go from my sleeveless suit to my full sleeve suit at a temperature of Y. Have that plan in place now so that race day simply becomes about execution. Don't queue slower than expected. There is a propensity for folks to kind of be conservative, or I really feel like I'm going to swim 130, but I'm going to line up at 145, or I'm going to swim 130, but I've got my training partners, and my friend is 145, so I'm going to go back there with them. The intent of this self-seated start is so that you are surrounded by athletes that are swimming the same speed as you. This is going to be a benefit to you because you guys will be able to work together and draft off of one another. But also, this is going to reduce the amount of impact, the amount of athletes that you're having to swim over, and the amount of athletes that are swimming over you. It's certainly not going to eliminate it, but it does reduce it. It does help. So don't queue slower than expected. Same thing with cheating up. It's do your best to, and it doesn't have to be exact. You have these 5-minute windows, and even with there's a nice buffer. So just kind of feel it out, and it doesn't have to be exact, but try to get as accurate as possible. Prime your wetsuit, especially if the water is colder. Last couple of years, it has been made it all the way down there into the 60s. So the way that wetsuit works, again, it is a wetsuit, not a dry suit. That means it is going to be wet inside. Easiest thing to do. Most folks are going to do it. Pee as you're walking there down to the swim start. That is going to work on the lower half of your body, but where it really counts is up in your core. That's where temperature really is regulated. So if that water is cold, if that air is cold, something you can do to kind of jumpstart the way that wetsuit works is just bring a bottle of water with you down to the beach. And I would say in about 5 minutes before the race starts or your swim starts, pour that bottle of water down the neck of the wetsuit. What that's going to do is allow your body to then warm that water. And then you're already going to have that layer of warm water between your skin and the neoprene of the suit, as opposed to jumping into that, say, 68-degree water. Now your body is going to actually lose temperature because your body is now having to warm that water. So it's just a little bit of a way to mitigate some of that initial cold shock. And this isn't for everyone in this swim. If you're racing Alcatraz or Ironman Arizona, where temperatures are in the low 60s, upper 50s, Coeur d'Alene, some of those colder ones, I would recommend this for everyone. This is more for those that are more prone to getting cold, or having that panic attack when the cold water hits. This is something you can do to help mitigate that. Along with that, settle in and get some sink downs if needed. Again, if you're comfortable in open water swimming, go for it. This is a great one just to dive in, start doing some dolphin dives through those waves, and get to swimming. But if you are a little more apprehensive, you got some nerves going, the advantage here is you can just wade in. You've got a long way of walking until you're going to get neck deep. So you've got all the time that you need. Take this time now at the beginning of the race to get comfortable, so that you don't have to do it later. It's better to be patient, get comfortable, and then start swimming, as opposed to going in too quickly and having a panic attack 50 or 100, 200 yards in. So do what you need to do to get started, and then have an amazing swim. So it is a 2-loop course. And really, obviously, as already stated, the conditions can vary. What we see a lot of times is this course looks like a pool. It's glass. It is totally flat. This is not a surfer's paradise by any means, because it is very, very common for Panama City Beach to be oddly flat. I mean, literally just no waves. But that said, this is the ocean. This is subject to all sorts of things that can cause that to change. Wind and storms and all these things have factored in the past. So be ready for anything. I've seen days that have been very, very difficult, followed by days that are just beautiful, and vice versa. So I will say I am not racing this year, so maybe that's a good omen for you guys. I see the pictures from 2013 thrown around a lot, posted on social media. I did the race in 2013, so I survived those conditions, and I got to say, those pictures were worse than reality. Keep in mind, those big breaking waves are up near the shore. So where do surfers surf? They surf up near the shore. They're not surfing a half mile out where a lot of this course is. So even if it is a choppy, surfy day, if you got some breakers, some white caps out there, know that there's a really good chance that those are going to be close to the beach. You're going to see that, but then once you get past it, it should settle down, and then they're going to help you on the way back. Other years, again, the rip currents of 2021, I was there for that one as well. It was miserable. It was my slowest swim ever, but I survived that as well. And then last year was just a really nice day. So I'm optimistic for you guys. Taking one for the team here by not racing, so that should set you up. But again, just pay attention in the days leading into the race. If it's kind of choppy and wavy, go get in it. See what it's like, experience it. Obviously, safety is paramount and top priority and all of those things. But go out there and experience what you're in store for on race day. Generally clear water. This is called the Emerald Coast for good reason. You have this beautiful emerald water. It is very, very clear, great water quality. Even in the years where it's been somewhat choppy and stirred up, still pretty good water quality. The links are approximately a half mile. So you're swimming from the beach to the first turn buoy, about a half mile, and then that second turn buoy, about a half mile to go. The pier is approximately 2/10 of a mile from the beach. So it is almost your halfway marker. So once you reach the end of the pier, you know you're almost halfway out. And then once you reach the pier on the way back in, know that you're more than halfway back. So great, just kind of visual there. You can use it to sight in addition to the buoys for that half of the course, and just use it as a metric to measure your advancement. And then obviously doing the math, pier to the turn, approximately 0.3. There is a water station between the laps, so you will come out on that northern/western side of the pier. You will run along the beach. You will go underneath the pier. There will be a water station there, water only, and sometimes they have cups. Sometimes just I think it's probably to keep the litter off the beach. They'll just have gallon jugs and they'll pour water in your mouth as you go through. But there is an opportunity to get a rinse out halfway through. All right, couple tips for the swim course. Match your stroke to conditions. So this is going to be critical. You never know what conditions are going to be thrown at you. Again, you won't even know till race day, because what's happening the day before may change. And if you fail to adjust your swim stroke to those conditions, it's going to be much more difficult. So, for example, 2013, 2021, the water was really moving, and there was a lot to overcome, both from the waves in 2013, the currents in 2021. If the swimmer had a really long, pretty classical pool swim stroke, they were going to be in trouble on those days. The portion where the current was pushing, or those waves are pushing you back into the beach, that stroke is fantastic. But if you are having to overcome waves, if you're having to overcome either a current that is pushing you from the front or from the side, it is critical that you increase your stroke rate to where you are always having that hand in the water, pulling, generating propulsion. A lot of times we hear we want to have propulsion and then glide. That glide is not going to take you anywhere if you are going into or across a current, into waves, that sort of thing. So, really, in those cases, it really becomes more about focusing on your propulsion. We want to keep good technique. This is not, I'm by no means saying this just becomes a windmill where you're spinning, 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 but it is important that you shorten the stroke, increase the stroke rate, and work through those currents or waves, whatever it may be. And then again, same thing. Like there's a rule of reciprocity, where if you've got, say, a current you're fighting on the way out, that current's going to be helping you on the way back. If there's waves on the way out, there's going to be waves on the way back pushing you back to the beach. So when you're getting that assistance, that's when you can slow down the stroke rate. You can lengthen the stroke and slow it down and take advantage of that push. But if you're fighting a current, fighting waves, the best way to do that, increase both your stroke rate and your kick rate as well, so that you can make your way through those adversaries. Sight often. It's going to be especially critical in this race. There is nothing to sight off on the horizon. So you are going to be sighting exclusively off of buoys. For that first 2/10, you can use the pier as a lateral object to sight, but the only thing ahead of you are going to be these buoys. Now, they are large, they are brightly colored, but it is going to be absolutely critical that you swim straight. If you get off course, if there's waves or currents pushing you either way, your swim time is going to be greatly affected by that. You're going to swim a whole lot more yards. You're going to take more time. That's going to be more energy. That's more time without nutrition, all of those things. So my recommendation here is to sight very frequently early on. If you find yourself right in line with that buoy every time you're sighting, then you can begin to extend the amount of time between sighting. If you find yourself getting off course and having to make correction, then it's time to dial it back. So make sure that you are sighting often. Make sure that you are swimming as straight as possible. Break the course into segments. Now, this is something that I'm going to be talking about for swim, bike, and run. Don't think about this day as a 140.6 mile event. That is just daunting. It's overwhelming. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, some great opportunities here is just from the beach to the pier, from the pier to the turn buoy, and then on the way back. You have lots of opportunities. Even buoy to buoy are great little celebrations. You can go and actually count how many buoys there are from the beach to the turn, from the turn to the beach. They're numbered, so you can keep track of your progress that way. But break the course down, celebrate those little victories, focus on that little segment that you have control over right then. The bike and the run are almost irrelevant when you're in the water. The only thing you need to be focusing on is making it to that next buoy, making it to that turn buoy, making it to that swim exit, making it to lap 2, and then out onto transition. Swim until you touch the sand. What you're going to see are a whole lot of people standing up very early. It may be chest deep, waist deep, knee deep. You are going to be much more efficient moving through that water, swimming, staying up on top of the surface of the water, as opposed to pulling a whole bunch of your body through that. Now, you've been out there swimming for a while. I know you're ready to be done. Take just a few more strokes, swim just a few more seconds, swim until you can't swim any longer. And that's when your hand touches that sand. That's when it's time to go ahead and pop up and then run to either start that second loop or head into transition. Mentally recover and regroup on the turn. So it's just a great opportunity to catch your breath, get a rinse out, get that salty taste out of your mouth for just a few seconds before getting it again. Know that you've done it once, you can do it again. You're halfway there. So recover, regroup on the turn, and then improve your execution on lap two. Learn from lap one. Where did things go right? Where did things go wrong? What can you do better on lap two? And then aim to improve your execution on lap two. All right, from there, we are going to head into transition one. It's a pretty big transition, quite a bit going on here. You will cross the beach and then head to Pier Park Drive. So you can see the red line there. So you'll run up the beach, actually go up one of the beach access ramps into that main road. There is a freshwater shower kind of right there at that intersection, right outside Margaritaville. That is traditionally where the shower has been set up. It's a good idea to rinse some of that salt water off of you as well as that sand. You're going to get sandy running across that beach. So that's what that shower is there for. Once you have made it over into the transition area, you will retrieve your bike gear bag. You will transition in the change tent. So you grab your bag, head into the change tent, transition, do whatever it is that you need to do. You will then repack your swim gear into that bike gear bag. So your swim skin, wetsuit, goggles, swim cap, whatever it is that you have not going with you out onto the bike course, you will repack into your swim bag, drop that bag on the way out, proceed to the bike route, and then mount at the mount line. Couple tips for transition. Mark your bags. So there are going to be approximately 3,000 bags that look exactly like yours. The only thing that is going to differentiate your bag from 3,000 others that look exactly like it is a sticker that they're going to give you at check-in. You are going to be dropping this bag off on Friday, so it is going to sit out overnight. It can 1 year that before that 2013, the surf was so choppy, so wavy because a big storm came through the night before. So we had already dropped off our bikes and our gear bags. They got poured on, and I guarantee you, stickers came off. It may just be humidity. This is the Gulf Coast. It's known for being humid. I have seen too many times these stickers come off. So mark your bag, do something to differentiate it from the thousands of others that look exactly like it. So my advice here is before you put that sticker on with your number, take a Sharpie and write your number in that box where it says to put the sticker. And then I say go nuts and write that number all over the bag just so it's super obvious whose bag that is. And then I say take it a step further. My recommendation is duct tape. Go to Walgreens, Walmart, Amazon, find you some brightly colored duct tape. They've got some fun different ones that have rainbows and unicorns and sports teams and all that. And then just tear off 12 to 18 inches and post that all over that bag so you know exactly which one is yours. Know your locations. Know where your bag is, know where your bike is. Don't waste time having to find it. Now, there's a pretty good chance that your bag will be in a slightly different place than where you dropped it off the day before. So, again, there are hundreds of bags that have to fit into these rows and between these little sandwich board markers. Volunteers will come back and try to neaten things up, try to ensure that everything is in sequential order, especially if you are prudent and get down there early to drop off your bike in gear bags. There's a pretty good chance your bag, not your bike, your bag is going to move some. So that brightly colored duct tape is just going to help. So know where it is. So race morning, you'll have access to these bags. Just go put eyes on it. You may need to put something in that bag, but if not, I still recommend going and saying, okay, there's my bag. I know exactly where it is. It's right by the placard or it's halfway between the two. Know where your bag is and then know where your bike is as well. These racks are long. There are hundreds of bikes that look exactly alike. So know where yours is and don't waste time there in the transition area. From there, be efficient, pack minimally, and practice in advance. Chances are you are perhaps a ninja at your traditional triathlon transition, where everything is set up there by your bike. You've done it 100 times, but how many times have you thought about or practiced your Ironman transition? So everything is going to be in your bike gear bag. There's not going to be anything at or under your bike. So your helmet, your shoes, all of that will be in that bike gear bag. So again, be efficient and pack minimally those things you're putting in that bag. The amount of things you have to do in that transition area, the fewer things you do, the more rehearsed you are, the quicker you're going to be, and the lower risk of missing something, forgetting something, anything like that. And then consider a go bottle. So this is, I love this. I've implemented this into my racing. I have to give credit to my friends at Precision Fuel and Hydration for this. So early on, I mentioned I drink vitamin water in the days leading into a race. So I like the vitamin water product, but I also like the bottles. So what I will do is save 2 of those bottles, and then they become my go bottles. So my go bottle in T1, I'll just put it there in my bike gear bag. I will have 6 to 8 ounces of water in that bottle. I will do a serving of my nutrition, a serving of my electrolytes. So we've already began talking about how critical it is to stay up on hydration, nutrition, electrolytes. So over the course of the swim, I did not take in, hopefully, too much hydration or electrolytes out there in the salt water, and no nutrition. So this is just going to be kind of a jump start. It's going to get my nutrition, hydration, and electrolyte protocol started on the bike and just kind of make up for all those that I burned through on the swim. So consider that go bottle. All right, no surprise, I'm going long. I could talk all day about this race. I love it so much, but we are now going to head out onto the bike. It is one of the few remaining one loop courses on the Ironman circuit. Generally good road conditions. I will say, especially early on, pretty good roads. I would say the roughest roads is a pretty long stretch. You can see up there at the top of the screen that northernmost point around mile 70. That is going to be a straightaway all the way, pretty darn close to mile 100. So that's about a 25-mile stretch. The roads there are not bad, but they are a little bumpy. They're a little bit older. But generally, you're going to have pretty good roads. The course is open to traffic. I recall last year on the east to west stretch, so that mile 40 to mile 60 stretch that is up there kind of in the middle of the screen, that is an east to west stretch. There were some sections where I was passing, and there were some vehicles that were going by at the same time, so that got a little dicey. So they generally do a pretty good job of signage and patrolling all of that, but just still be heads up and know that these are not closed roads. The course is flat. You've heard that before. Again, my definition of flat, your definition of flat may be 2 different things. So go drive this course, see exactly what you're in store for. It is exposed mostly to sun, kind of contrary to what you might think. Panama City Beach, the section where you're along there close to the coast, yeah, very, very beachy, but very quickly you're going to get up into some piney woods. So part of the course will have some shade, but also sun. Along with that, again, you're on the coast, so be ready for wind. There are some rollers around mile 40. So again, what is a roller? What is the definition of that? Go see it. So mile 40, you can see there that northeastern corner. There's a little bit there. The first time I did this race, it kind of caught me off guard. Wasn't quite ready for that, but even some of that east-west stretch, there's a little bit of elevation there. Not much. This is not, don't take this wrong, but it's not pancake flat. And then halfway along that east-west stretch, you will encounter the personal needs bags. Those are around mile 50. And then once you get to the end of that east-west stretch, you will head north. And there is a bit of a false flat on that northern stretch there. So you've reached that mile 60 mark. You've turned to the right, head up to the northernmost point of that course. Again, that's about a 10-mile stretch from 60 to 70. It is a net uphill. In this time of year, that can often be into the wind as well. A lot of times that wind is coming out of the north this time. So in years past, that has proved to be a difficult stretch, or call it maybe the most difficult stretch. But there's good news if you are having to work from mile 60 to 70. Don't lose hope, because that's actually really good news. This was actually the case for the 2021 race. Pretty good wind out of the north. So there was that slight false flat, a little bit of work uphill into the wind. 60 to 70 was not fast, but you know what was? From mile 70 to mile 95. It is a little bit net downhill. And if you have that wind behind you, you're going to be absolutely flying. So it's really, really nice to get that help, to have that tailwind from 70 to 95. That is generally the most difficult section of the bike course. You've been out there for several hours. You've still got a long way to go. So it is amazing. So if you're having to work from mile 60 to mile 70, fear not, because you've got a tailwind coming, and hopefully that will be the case. Interesting detours at the end. So you can't really see it from the maps here, but down there around mile 100, you actually deviate from the road into a Publix grocery store parking lot. You will ride around back of the grocery store. So you'll see the dumpster and the trash compactor and the shipping containers. It's kind of interesting, but what that allows is for the customers to still be able to turn into the grocery store without having to turn across the bike traffic. So it's going to just eliminate or reduce the amount of risk of having cars intersecting with the bike. So you'll go around the grocery store, the cars will go into the parking lot, and then shortly thereafter, that is kind of your off-road detour. Yes, you are going to go off-road on your time trial bike. It is a little sketchy, but it's okay. So shortly after you exit the Publix parking, you will continue west. You will go across a bridge that's pretty pronounced. Very soon after crossing over that bridge, you are going to be instructed to turn right. Basically, you're going to be turning across the shoulder, across the ditch. It is grass. They're going to be putting out these really big, kind of like you would see on a construction site. They're hard plastic, so be very careful. They're going to get slick if it's wet, especially. You're going to roll down, and you're going to end up on a path. This path will then wind back underneath the highway, and then turn back to the right. So it kind of does like clover shape. Again, what that's going to allow is for the cars to continue on the highway without having to wait on the bikes to cross over the highway to head back into town. So just be aware of that. Go see it. It'll be set up in the days before. There's a little park right there. You can actually turn into the park is parking lot is on the south side of the highway. So on the beach side, go see it, put eyes on it, and know what you're in store for coming up on race day. All right, couple tips for the bike course. Settle into the loop and build throughout. Going out too hard too early at Ironman is a very common mistake that you will definitely pay for later on. Kind of depending on the wind. If that wind is out of the south, and you've got a tailwind, you're going to be flying. Just know that you stick to your plan. Know what power you should be at, what heart rate you should be at, and then build throughout. Where you're conservative and patient early on, build throughout, and then riding strong. Remember that rule of reciprocity. So if you've got a headwind one way, this course goes all four directions: north, south, east, west, and a little bit in between. So if you've got a headwind on a stretch, just know that you're going to have a tailwind on the inverse stretch. And if you're fighting it, it's going to help. If it's helping, know that you're going to have to kind of pay the piper a little bit later on. Remember to stretch. This course is, again, flat enough where you are going to be in the air position for the vast majority of the time. There are really long stretches. Some of them you can see are close to 20 miles long without any turns. So an hour let's call it, where you may not get out of that arrow position. So make sure that every once in a while you're sitting up, you're stretching your back, especially if you are not used to riding in the arrow position for extended periods of time. If you live in a hilly area, or the courses that you do have a lot of turns, so you're sitting up a lot to make those turns. Your back, your neck, your shoulders may fatigue. So make sure that you're taking care of that. So again, stay ahead of hydration and nutrition. And kind of to add on to that, stay cool. Now, chances are this time of year, the bike course is generally a little bit lower temperature. So this is something you may not even feel. All three of these, your nutrition, your hydration, your cooling protocols, you may feel like you're not dehydrated. You may feel like you're not overhydrated out there on the bike course. The temperature is going to be nice and mild. There's going to be some shade out there in the piney woods. You may not be sweating as much as you did throughout the summer, but don't let that get you caught off guard. Don't underestimate the importance of staying hydrated, staying up on your nutrition, and staying cool. So make sure that you are doing whatever necessary to do to stay cool. My recommendation to stay cool is every time you go through one of the aid stations, grab a water bottle. So the water bottles are going to be the first thing you come to at the aid station. So it's going to be water, Gatorade Endurance, solid foods, and then opposite, Gatorade, water on the way out. So what I do when I go through these aid stations, I take a water bottle from that first volunteer, or as soon as I can. First thing I do is take a big chug on that, looking to maintain my core temperature internally. So drinking those cold fluids are going to help keep my core temperature down. From there, I'm going to spray my face, spray my kit. It'll be appropriate to the conditions. So if it's, say, 50 degrees out there, I may just spray my face, maybe not soaking my kit at that point. But make it appropriate. If it's warmer, then I'm going to be drenching myself head to toe as much I can. From there, I'm going to take another big pull, drink another big gulp of that water. And then I may ditch that bottle and maybe grab another one on the way out, especially if it's warmer than expected. Same thing, if you're using that on-course nutrition, that Gatorade, always take a fresh bottle. One, you paid for it, so you might as well get it. Two, those the Gatorade is going to be cold. It's going to help cool your body, and it's going to be more palatable, which means it's going to be easier to drink. You're more likely to drink it, more apt to stay up on your hydration protocol. As you begin to near T2, start thinking about T2 and the run. So my rule of thumb is nothing taken in the last 20 minutes. So for me, that's around mile 105. I know I've got about 20 minutes to go. I'm not going to take in any more fluids, any more food, anything like that. So as I'm at, say, mile 100 to 105, I'm going to do an inventory. Where am I on my hydration and my nutrition and my electrolytes? Am I topped off? Am I good? Do I need to make up? So if I'm behind, that is my last opportunity to get caught up. Because what I don't want to do is in the last 20 minutes of that bike leg be filling my stomach up with a bunch of water or food, anything like that. So I'm going to inventory. I'm going to get caught up. Mile 105, give or take, 20 minutes out, I'm going to shut it down. So what I want is for my stomach to have the opportunity to empty prior to coming into T2 and starting the run. Now, I have somewhat struggled mentally on the closing sections of this bike course. You'll go through the park, come back across that bridge, and now you're along the beach for quite a few miles. And for me, that's just kind of where it gets tough. I'm ready to be done, ready to get off the bike, ready to start running. And one thing I've noticed, but I didn't know where to end, is it's pretty packed with these beach access signs. So very early on, you're going to start at beach access number 95. So you're going to see mid 90s, low 90s pretty early on. Know that you will be riding all the way to beach access 58. So 58 is that beach access that you are going to come through after the swim. That's going to get you back there into the transition area. And it's just a great opportunity to know that you're making progress. Count them down. And it only works if you know where you're going. So remember, you're going to be going to beach access number 58. So just a nice little countdown that'll help you head into transition. All right, I am running late. I'm going to get through this as quickly as I can. As you head into T2, you will hand your bike off to a volunteer, so some nice valet service. You will retrieve your run gear bag, head into the change tent, and do whatever it is that you need to do to transition from the bike to the run. You will repack your bike gear into that run gear bag. So your helmet and everything else that's not going with you out onto that run course, you'll repack that into that bike gear bag, drop it on the way out, and proceed out to the run course. My tips for T2 are exactly like T1. Be efficient, pack minimally, practice in advance, and consider a go bottle. The one thing I do differently on my T2 go bottle is instead of 6 to 8 ounces that I use in T1, it's more like 10 to 12 ounces, just because one, I have hopefully a nice fresh stomach. I haven't had anything in the past 20 minutes. My stomach has had the opportunity to empty. It is now ready to take on additional fluid without sloshing around or feeling bloated, anything like that as I start the run. And if I'm not ready to take all that down in transition, I can take that bottle with me. So I may nurse it over the first quarter mile, half mile, first aid station, second aid station, whatever it is. I will nurse that bottle until it's gone. And then I transition over to the on-course offering for my nutrition. All right, out onto the run course. Fortunately, not a whole lot to it, so we can move through this relatively quickly. It is a 2-loop course. The roads do get narrow, so this is open to traffic as well. So it's kind of like a lot of this run course is along the shoulder. Some of that has some, I would say, less than hard packed surface, so it's a little bit of kind of shoulder type gravel for certain sections. It is mostly exposed to the sun. So, especially for those that are coming off in the noon, 1 o'clock time, you've got a lot of time out there in that coastal sun. And not a whole lot, of relief. There's the occasional shadow from those tall buildings along the way, but mostly exposed to the sun. So this is really where that cooling protocol comes in. Even if it's not so hot, just keep in mind that tropical sun hits a little bit different than it does away from the beach. It's even flatter than the bike. Nothing to this. There's hardly even a step to go up. And your personal needs will be available at the start of the second loop. So right there, as you've done it once, you'll be ready to do it again, and you'll have access to those personal needs bags. All right, run course tips. Like the swim bike and run, break the course into sections. If you come out of T2 thinking about having to run a marathon, having to run 26.2 miles, that's just going to be daunting. Nice thing here is you've basically got 4 10Ks. You've run lots of 10Ks in your training. At this point, you're not even thinking a 10K is that much. So just a great opportunity to run that first 10K, basically run to the U-turn, run your second K back to the start, and then do it all over. There are some smaller sections. There are a few little turns. I would say there's probably 2 kind of main turns. They're really they're not like hard 90-degree turns, so to speak, but you'll kind of see it go down there again in the days leading in. There are some different neighborhoods, kind of so to speak, that you'll go through. You'll start off in kind of the newer part of Panama City Beach. There's a lot of new condos. You got the Pier Park, all of that. From there, you'll go through a little bit older section. It's more of like the low-rise hotels, and then you'll get down to where, for those that were familiar with the old course, you'll get down to where the finish line used to be, where the run course used to start. That is basically the U-turn point now. So a couple different neighborhoods, a couple different things that you'll see, a couple different places that you can use as just as those mental breaks that you go through, especially on the way back. You'll know what you're going to encounter. Second loop, you'll know where those aid stations are. You'll know where the turns are, and be able just to navigate that away. Like the bike course, make sure that you ease in and build throughout. A lot of times, you can come out of transition feeling really good, almost too good at sometimes, and you may look down and you may be running 30 to 60 seconds per mile faster than your plan because you feel so good. Unfortunately, a lot of times that doesn't last. So make sure that again you start off conservative, start working on your hydration, nutrition, get your heart rate down and then build throughout the course where you're not going out too hard too quickly. For the last time, I'm going to remind you to stay hydrated, which includes those electrolytes. Stay up on your nutrition and stay cool. Inevitably, what you're going to see, especially as the evening progresses, is there's going to be more and more folks walking out there on the course. Some will have those strategic walks. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there are a lot of athletes who trained and planned to be running, but they are having to walk. And for the vast majority of those, it's not because they didn't train right or they didn't train enough. It wasn't because they didn't have the fitness or the stamina necessary to run this Ironman marathon. There's a very good chance that their execution was off. So either their pacing, hydration, and nutrition, including electrolytes, or their cooling protocol was off. They either went out too hard, too quick, they got behind on nutrition or electrolytes or hydration, or they are overheated. So make sure that you are paying attention to those things. Execution is absolutely critical. Execution separates those that will perform at their best versus those that leave time and inevitably may be disappointed in their performance out there on the race course. So your training ends when the race starts, your execution begins. Race day is all about executing and reaping all of the reward of all that training that you've done. So do not underestimate how critical your execution is. Plan it, stick to your plan until that plan doesn't work anymore, and then make smart adjustments. Take something from every aid station. So you've paid a whole bunch of money to be in this race. Might as well get your money's worth. Chances are you need the hydration, you need the calories, something like that. Or if it's not that something that you're going to consume, maybe it's just pouring some cool water over your arms, pouring some cold water over your head, pouring some ice down your shorts, down your jersey, whatever it is, whatever again needs to be appropriate for those conditions. But take something from every aid station. Use the personal needs strategically. So, what are those things that you're going to need halfway through this run? It's going to get cooler overnight. It is an early sunset, so take all those things into consideration and plan for that. And then one of the things here: savor the sunset. Again, this is one of those things that I love about Ironman Florida. It's unique largely to Ironman Florida. You're going to be standing on that beach on race morning. You're going to see that beautiful sunrise in the east. It's going to be coming up there. You're going to see it throughout your swim. They're going to be playing the national anthem, all of that as that sun is breaking over that beautiful, beautiful Gulf of Mexico, that Emerald Coast. Hours later, the vast majority of the athletes are still going to be out there on the course when that sun sets in the west. Uh, this time of year, Panama City Beach is known for just amazing sunsets. And I think it's just so cool to think about this feat that you've been on, this journey that you've been on. You've been operating under your own power from sunrise to sunset and beyond. So it's just a really neat thing and really something to savor and enjoy. All right, from there we are going to head to the finish. Again, goosebumps just thinking about it, thinking back to those 4 times where I've had the privilege of crossing this finish line at Ironman Florida, and knowing what you guys are in store for. Take it all in. This is what you've trained for. All the blood, sweat, tears, the money, the time, all of the sacrifice, all the dedication is all about this moment. So take it in. Clean up. Make sure you wipe away those blood, sweat, and tears so you have a good finisher picture. Plan your finish. What does your finish look like when you step onto that red carpet? When you enter into that finishing chute, what is that going to be for you? The one thing I would advise against is dropping into a dead sprint. Don't miss out on this. Be present. Listen for your name to be called. Listen for your hometown. Listen what song is playing. Find your loved ones there along the side. And then for me, I love just giving the high fives to my support crew, those kids that are out there, random strangers want to high five you. Take it all in and enjoy this magic experience, because this is what is going to bring you back. This is why you're going to do all of that training, spend all of that money again, is just so that you can experience the amazing finish line. So enjoy it, take it all in, relish this amazing achievement that you have completed. All right, that is what I've got. Unfortunately, we are already over on time, which again, I could go on for hours talking about this race. So I was able to already answer several of the questions that have come in. If I have not been able to get to your question, I will respond to you via email in the next couple of days. If you have any questions that haven't been submitted, please feel free to reach out. I am more than happy to answer any questions. My email address is there on the screen, john@tribetriathlon.net. So one of the common questions I got before the webinar was about that U-turn or kind of clover turn there around a little after mile 100. So this is a picture of the part of the course there. So the highway that you're going to be turning off of is obviously not in the water side, but there to the left of this image. So you'll actually be coming through those trees. There is this trail cuts through those trees. You'll make a 90-degree turn, which is just out of sight, kind of behind that tree, onto this path. So you'll see it's a nice, wide, very nice, very smooth path. From here, you'll go under the highway through kind of a little tunnel underpass kind of a thing, back up the other side, and then loop back just like you did onto the road, and that'll dump you back where you'll start those beach access sign countdown. So again, go look at this, go see it. It's not that far from the village, all of that. It's easy to get to, but I recommend checking out the entire bike course. And from there, man, guys, you guys are in for something special. I hope you guys have an amazing experience. I hope you create amazing memories like I have. I hope you have an amazing race, huge PRs. And again, I hope this time has been beneficial. I hope you've learned something. I hope you have less stress and more confidence headed into your race. I hope you have an amazing last week, taper, travel, all of that. Be safe. Go be an Ironman.